All right, Rob. Let's go back. Remember yesterday we talked about the Athletic releasing their quarterback tiers, which they do every year. Surprisingly, Lamar Jackson has never been on tier 1, Rob. That despite winning a unanimous MVP. But he's never been regarded as a tier 1 quarterback. This year was the same thing. He was tier 2, which he's been for the last 4 years. And he was overall ranked 7th behind Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Herbert, and Jalen Hurts. And so I think, Rob, and I've been, I haven't been like just one to just praise Lamar Jackson. He obviously is a great player, but I understood some of the apprehensions about, he hasn't thrown it a lot outside the numbers, but hasn't had great receivers either. He's had a great, relationship passing the ball with Mark Andrews, the tight end, but outside the numbers hasn't really done it. But this year, Rob, with the new offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, going to be more of a pro-style offense. OBJ, I'm not going to sit here and act like I expect Odell Beckham Jr. to turn back the clock, but I think if he's healthy and stays healthy, more importantly, I think he can have a good year. They got Zay Flowers, the rookie, who's tough.
I think you said the right thing, though, for OBJ. If he can stay healthy, he can't stay healthy, Chris.
That's been his problem throughout his career, not just recently. And so, but I think he's got the best receiving core he's ever had. They're still going to be able to run the ball. And with this new offense that Todd Monken, the new OC, is putting in, here's what one executive who voted in the tiers said. It was a defensive coordinator, on Lamar. Here's what he said. If Josh Allen was in that same offense Lamar was in, meaning under Greg Roman, you would think of Josh the same way you think of Lamar. Josh was just in a more pro-favorable offense. Lamar, whatever they thought they were doing, simple fact of the matter is they put him basically in a college offense. It will be really good to see if Lamar elevates his game and people say he is more like Josh Allen. I'm expecting him to elevate his game, Rob. And so I do have him as a tier 1 quarterback. I get the injury issues, and that's a concern. He's missed, 10 games, I think, the last 2 years. But they didn't come running the ball. They came, in the pocket. So I've been one to believe that you can't run like he does and stay healthy, but he has been able to do that. So, I'm expecting a big year from him.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's that many tier 1 quarterbacks. I'm not so sure that he's not where he belongs because we haven't seen a sustain. And that doesn't mean that he didn't win the MVP when he did, and he was unanimous and he changed everything. But I think sometimes when you talk about all the things a quarterback can do, I think people are still waiting to see some of that, Chris. And some of that has to do with not having the right pieces, needing him to do other things. And I think that's why. Not that he's a bad player or he's not good or dynamic or he can't be that, but I think that's why the jury's still out on him. And I think this is a good test, Chris, this year to see exactly who is he with some wide receivers and guys to throw to. You start having to respect that pass, Chris. That opens up even more yardage for him. Absolutely. And if you come in and put an extra man in the box, say, I'm going to force you to throw the football downfield, and he starts connecting on long passes and all kinds of other stuff, he's going to be almost impossible to be able to defend. Because what do you do, Chris? How do you cheat if he's hitting receivers downfield with some accuracy, or he's running for 20 yards in chunks because you don't have that extra man in the box? I mean, he's a nightmare for defenses.
remember his second year in the league, and you're talking about rushing, and one reason he was so tough to handle was because of the threat of the run, but he led the league with 36 passing touchdowns his second year.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, that's when he won the MVP and was great, led the league in QBR as well. But here's some more numbers from him. He's one of 6 players in NFL history to reach 100-plus passing touchdowns and 4,000-plus rushing yards in a career, and the fastest to do it, Rob, by 31 games. Now, keeping it real.
Thank you. Go ahead.
That's
do it.
Right. Those are great numbers, and it's a great achievement. But the game is so different.
It's not the same game.
So much more.
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And that's fair. And it's not to take anything away.
Right.
You just said it. We're not like downplaying what he did. But when you go back and look at Terry Bradshaw, and he threw 38 passes, Chris, in 3 games. 38 passes in 3 games. They throw that in the first quarter. Like, stop it.
Yeah, it was so different. There's no question about it. It's like comparing 3-point numbers, to back in the day. Oh, Bird only hit 1 a game. I mean, they didn't shoot him. So you can't really compare him. Here's something else. In the regular season, Rob, we know he's won 74% of his games, which is big. 45-16.
That's a big number.
64% of his passes. He hadn't thrown for a lot of yards. And we'll see again if that changes this year. I am expecting him to have a big year. I get the apprehension. I've at times, I've said he has. I wanted him to throw the ball better outside the numbers. But the fact is the offense wasn't that sophisticated, nor did they have the great receiving core. And so you're right, Rob. This year, we'll see if he can do it.
Right. He could wind up winning the MVP, Chris. Remember, he got off to a great start last year. He was playing great football.
Then they struggled a little bit for a little while.
And then he got hurt.
They kept winning, yeah. Then he got hurt. And so I think the Ravens are going to be a load this year, Rob.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Because the fact is, they win with him. And their defense is always solid.
Until further notice. I mean, you talk about 74%. Yep. Ain't too many quarterbacks walking around with a 74% winning percentage. I don't care who you are. That's a 3 out of 4 games. You winning 3 out of 4 games?
I think the only other active quarterbacks above 70% for their careers,
right,
are Mahomes and, believe it or not, Jimmy Garoppolo. Rob G, check that out. But yeah, Garoppolo's at 70%. And Lamar's at 74, and then you got Mahomes. Mahomes is around 80. But yeah, so we'll see. But it's a big year. Look, he got his money. He's obviously going to be in a good headspace. He's got some receivers. I'm sure he's excited about the new offense. And so we'll see if he can prove, the doubters wrong, Rob. I do think he's going to be throwing it more. And not, trying not to run as much. Obviously, that's always a weapon that he should keep. But I think he's going to try to be a little more of a pocket passer. And you're right. If he can add that to his arsenal, how you going to stop him?
It'll be almost impossible.
Yeah, no doubt.